And here we are. We made it to the end of another wonderful year. Not so wonderful for the channel, but pretty wonderful. This year for the channel was mixed. We hit 1K subs. That was very exciting. And I did upload a couple of my favorite videos I've ever done this year. But it was also undeniably a slower year for uploads, to say the least. And among those uploads, this was the year of experimentation. A lot of business casuals, a lot of reactions, some little experimental things like the voice acting stuff. And as for big videos, we have... I'm looking at the channel right now. This is an unscripted video, by the way, so bear with me here. We have the Aardman ranking, which did obscenely well. Geez. The Who is the most popular Pikmin character video. The Cinemark ranking, so big gap there. The Bob's Burgers Season 15 ranking. And that's it. Truth be told, though, this was a good year for me creatively. Not just because there was a lot of good stuff that came out this year, but I also, for the last couple months, have been writing the first season of my cartoon. So that's very cool. Anyway, to end this year with a nice little intimate video, I decided there's a lot of movies I watched in the last month or so that I would typically do a review for, but since I watched like a whole bunch of them, I decided to we're gonna culminate all of the movies I watched into one big review. This is the end of 2025 review. I don't know what I'm actually gonna call this video. We're gonna go in a vague ranking order, so we're gonna start with what I consider the weakest movie I watched that I want to talk about, and end with the best movie I watched that I want to talk about. So let's get into it. Alright, we're gonna open up pretty briefly here with a short segment on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I actually liked the first movie. I thought it was a pretty good adaptation of what the game is, and for what it was, I enjoyed it. I'm not a horror fan, really, at all, so I didn't mind that it wasn't scary, and I liked the characters and the story that they told. I thought it was pretty decent. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is not decent. It's kind of bad. I don't know about this one. To anyone who enjoyed it, I genuinely want to know why. This isn't that's not me being like judgmental. I just want to know. I'm genuinely curious on like what you liked about it. I want to know. It takes 40 minutes for the inciting incident to happen, and then an hour for Josh Hutcherson, the main character of the movie, to get involved with the story. And that is kind of a pacing nightmare because it means that nothing really happens for the first 40 minutes. The opening flashback is pretty good. I didn't mind that at all. But like, it would be one thing if the opening 40 minutes aside from that flashback were like doing interesting things with the characters. But Josh Hutcherson is so checked out and not doing anything. And then the kid is kind of just doing the same thing over and over again, and I don't like that very much. Vanessa kind of gets some interesting character stuff, but it culminates in a really awkwardly staged nightmare sequence that is like William Afton's only real appearance in the movie, and that is severely disappointing because he is easily the best part of these movies. And then once the plot gets going, there's only like 30 minutes in the movie left. So we don't even really get to see like the animatronics and stuff that much, like, you know, the thing that you're supposed to be excited about. I want to compliment the voice actors for the 3 toy animatronics. They were all good. You know, Bonnie and Freddy only get like 3 lines each, but Chica gets a lot of lines, and she was probably the best antagonist in the movie because, oh man, the puppet? Dude, what did they do to the puppet? The puppet I've always really liked the design of. I think it's probably the creepiest character in the series. And man, you see the puppet design for like one scene, and then it possesses someone for the rest of the movie. That sucks. And then there's the twist villain. Ooh, I thought one of the biggest issues with the first movie was that they waited until there were only like 20 minutes in the movie left to reveal William Afton, and I thought that was a little silly because, again, he's the best part of the movie. Well, I guess it could have been worse because this movie's main villain is revealed with 6 minutes left in the movie. That sucks. It's terrible. I did not enjoy it at all. And I liked the first one, that's the thing. I was disappointed because I was expecting something at least on par with that movie that I enjoyed. But no, it really wasn't. I was gonna give it a 4 out of 10, but I think it's more like a 3 out of 10. There were some cool set pieces. That's my biggest compliment. I like Mangle. I liked Mangle scene. You know, the one scene. Oh yeah, it was really funny when they did an Avengers Endgame moment with the other toy animatron, with the original animatronics all coming in, like on your left, and then Freddy comes in and he kills Toy Freddy. That was pretty funny. That's about all I have to say. All right, next up we have Wicked for Good. Now, if you watch the Cinemark video, which not a lot of you did, you'd know I really loved the first Wicked. I love musicals, and I was just really shocked by how great Wicked was. I didn't know anything about it going in, and I had a great time with it. You can see my extended thoughts on the film in that video. I went into this movie, Wicked for Good, mostly spoiler-free. I had one plot twist revealed for me, but it ended up not being as big a thing as I thought it would. And I heard one song beforehand, that being Wonderful, because I was curious to what Jeff Goldblum would be singing in this movie. And I became obsessed with that song. I think Wonderful in its original form is fantastic. Not so much here, but we'll get there. Oh yeah, spoilers, by the way. I'm going to be talking spoilers for basically every movie on here except the first place one, so yeah. I want to say that even though this movie is at the bottom of my overall ranking for this video, I don't think it's bad. I don't think this is a bad movie. I wouldn't even say it disappointed me. I just think it is heavily, heavily, heavily flawed. And let's discuss why the biggest issue with this movie is for sure the pacing of this thing. This movie is paced in a way I can only describe as episodic. It kind of feels like we're going through a bunch of different stories and a bunch of different episodes of a larger TV show or something, and it feels weird as a movie. You have the whole opening with Glinda and Fiyero and her backstory and all that, and it's good, and I like it, but it does feel very self-contained because we don't really cut away from that. Then it's like, oh, and this is the episode about Elphaba and Nessa and Bach's sick relationship. And it's fine, and I enjoyed it, but it also feels like its own little story that has a setup, a middle, and a climax. This is the wizard episode where we go to see the wizard, and ooh, it's also the episode where Glinda and Fiyero get married, and then the two plots converge, and then that's it, I guess. And that's kind of how the whole movie is paced, and it is fine, but it's also, I don't know, it's hard to get invested in any one plot thread, because it feels like each one of them starts and ends before the next one gets going. It doesn't feel like they're all flowing at the same time, if that makes sense. And then we have my other big issue with this movie being the Wizard of Oz stuff. Now, I will say, I don't have an ounce of, like, emotional attachment to the Wizard of Oz, as I said in my Cinemark video. It is just not a movie I care about. Like, I respect it, sure, it's important in the grand scheme of filmmaking, but I don't care about it. So all the Wizard of Oz tie-in stuff basically fell flat for me. The best example of it is for sure the Tin Man, but I have a separate issue with the Tin Man because, okay, so Bach gets turned into the Tin Man, right? That's the big thing. And they do a phenomenal job, right? And I get that, you know, you can't stray too far from the source material, so I guess this is criticism of that too. They do a great job setting up Bach as an antagonist, building up why he hates Elphaba. And then you have March of the Witch Hunters, the big end of Act 2 of the movie song before the climax. And it sets Bach up so well. He is so furious during that song. And I was thinking, oh man, okay. So he's like an antagonist now. Like, he you know, he's going to be a problem in the climax. And that's the last thing he does in the movie. Like he has that like moment where he looks at Glinda. They have that little that moment, and it's like it's good, it's scary, and then he never appears again. Genuinely, like he's gone from the movie after that. I don't think he appeared a single time, and I don't love that. I don't love that. He was for sure like the most compelling character story besides the main characters in the movie, and they kind of wasted him. I don't know. Now, Fiyero being the Scarecrow, on the other hand, is fine by me because I don't actually care about Fiyero. I will say that is my biggest issue with this movie that's like actually tied to the main characters, is that Fiyero is so boring to me. He has no chemistry with Elphaba whatsoever. He's not an interesting character, and this movie is so focused on the romance that it really distracts from like the relationship I am invested in, which is Glinda and Elphaba. And in fact, their relationship in general feels like it's heavily sidelined here. And that is because they're separate for a lot of it. But I feel like even with them being separate, you could play into them wanting to see each other again. You could play into them being important to each other still. But they kind of don't. They kind of just don't. There's a couple moments where they do, and those are great. And the scenes where we do have them together are really good. I like their little fight. That was fun. And obviously the ending is great. But yeah, I don't know, this feels more like Glinda's story and then Elphaba and Fiyero's story rather than Elphaba and Glinda and Fiyero's story, if that makes sense. Is that comprehensible? I do think Fiyero being the Scarecrow is very funny because this entire time, this has been the Wicked Witch of the West x Scarecrow fan fiction. And I think that is super funny. Okay, now we have my last big issue. I think I covered all the big stuff, but my last big issue is Madame Morrible. Michelle Yeoh is an incredible actress. If you have seen Everything Ever All at Once, you know she's an amazing actress. So I don't know what happened here, but she's kind of terrible in this movie, and I don't know why. I don't know what caused that, because she's amazing. I think she's miscast. Like, I don't think she can pull off this character. First of all, I'm not gonna be too mean to her singing, because she's not a singer, and that feels a little disingenuous, but like her regular acting in this is just really flat and unintimidating, which is kind of a problem when you're playing borderline the main antagonist of the movie. I thought her ultimate fate was good. I like Madame Morrible as a character. Her role in the story is good, but like it's just not a good performance. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I think the wizard's role in the story is kind of dumb. His performance is good, but okay. The one thing I got spoiled on before watching this movie was that the wizard is revealed to be Elphaba's father. And I thought that was going to be like his motivation. I thought that's why he was targeting Elphaba. But no, it's revealed at the end of the movie, like after the conflict is over. Like that's when it's revealed that he's Elphaba's father. So it doesn't actually mean anything because like it doesn't inform a single antagonistic decision the wizard makes, and it also doesn't inform a decision Elphaba makes because she never learns this. She doesn't even know. That's bizarre, right? That's really weird. I do want to add on briefly that Jeff Goldblum's performance after the reveal is one of his best and a really great scene. Like, compliments where they are due. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining too much here. And this is a good time to go into the songs. I don't think the songs are as good as Act 1 songs. Wonderful, which is the one song I have heard from the Broadway version, is like a lyrical masterpiece. There's so many good lyrics in that song. And the opening part of that song is so good, right? But like they replaced the entire opening part of the song with like completely different lyrics. So instead of us getting the wonderful rhyme of I never saw myself as a Solomon or Socrates, I knew who I was, one of your dime a dozen mediocrities, you get take it from a wise old carny once they buy into your blarney, which call me crazy, not quite as strong. I do know what the two new songs were, and they were both. The first one is good. The Elphaba song is good. I didn't care for the Glinda song very much. It was a little boring. It was shot really cool, though. And otherwise, like, yeah, they were good. They were good. I think the highlight was for sure No Good Deed. That might be my favorite song in the whole show, honestly. And there were some really cool visuals with it, too. I do think, and I'm gonna pivot into positives now. I do think visually, this film is a lot better than the first one. The first one had, like, atrocious lighting. Like, atrocious lighting a lot of the time. This one, it was a lot less bad, and then it had good lighting for a lot of the songs. Like No Good Deed is visually really sick. Wonderful, even if I have my issues with the lyrical changes. Really sick. Glinda's part when it goes all pink, that was pretty. And then the ending with the rainbow room, that was cool. I kind of like that the final song, I kind of like that For Good is, like, in that dingy castle. I saw some people complaining that it looks really bland, and, like, it does, but I think it reflects the mood pretty well since it is a sad song. And it was a very good song as well. And at the end of the day, even with my issues with the story, I was still really satisfied with where Elphaba and especially Glinda end up as characters. I think their journeys work really well, even if I could still change some things. Again, I don't want to seem like I'm disappointed with this movie, because I'm really not. I do have plenty of issues with it, but none of them take away from the fact I had a really good time watching it, and I was still very satisfied with how it ultimately ended. And I think that's the most important. I'm sad that it's over. I'm gonna miss these movies. I know there was the announcement that they're making more movies set in the Wicked universe. I have no idea what that could look like. Maybe you do, like, a reboot of Oz the Great and Powerful, but in the Wicked universe. It would make $1 million, trust me. I was planning on giving Wicked for Good a 6 out of 10, but I think I settled on a 7 out of 10 because I did enjoy it, you know? I have issues. I think objectively it is more like a 6 out of 10, but I had a lot of fun. I got a little misty-eyed by the end, so it gets a bonus point. 7 out of 10 for Wicked for Good. Pretty good. Good job. Good job for Wicked. Alright, out of everything here, Zootopia 2 was probably the biggest surprise for me, because I don't even like the first Zootopia that much. I think it's pretty good. Like, okay, no, I don't. That was too nice. I think it's okay. I really like Nick and Judy. I like them as characters a lot, and I like their arcs. I like what they go throughout the movie. I think that's all great. The issue is that the allegory for race it chooses is so clumsy, and that it like completely overshadows the positives for me. Trying to equate white and black people with predator and prey animals is stupid, because in real life, black people don't eat white people. It's beyond dumb. I hate it as an allegory so much. And on top of that, the mystery, which is decent, overly relies on a truly abysmal villain. Yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of issues with it that kind of overshadow the good for me. I still think it's alright though. Zootopia 2, while maybe having slightly weaker character arcs, and even then I will get to, I think they do better in one regard. I think it's a much better movie in like every way. And that is primarily because it fixes my two biggest issues with the first movie, which I just mentioned. Changing the race allegory from predator and prey mammals to mammals and reptiles works so much better. It's just better. It works now. It actually works. I saw some people criticizing the movie because they do a lot of reptile gags that could be seen as undermining the message. That, like, oh, they're not weird at all. But, like, it's Zootopia. Like, the point of these movies is basically to do a bunch of animal gags. Like, that is the primary source of comedy throughout these movies. So, like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm okay with them doing a bunch of lizard gags because you introduced lizards, and it would be silly not to do a bunch of lizard gags. So that works really well. That works better. The mystery as well that comes from that is just a lot more interesting. And this is the single best Disney movie in terms of villains, probably since Wreck-It Ralph, I want to say. The Lynxes are super intimidating. They just add this, like, really good threatening presence to the entire movie. You know, you have Milton Lynxley and his kids who are acting as villains throughout the whole movie. But then, on top of that, there's an actually good twist villain, which is, like, unheard of. I didn't think they'd ever do it again. But no, he's really good. And, you know, Milton is a little one note. He's, like, mostly just intimidating. He's not, like, an interesting character. The twist villain makes up for that because he is an interesting character. Ooh. So I really love that. That was great. That made me extraordinarily happy to see them do so well there. And then we have the other new characters, the Beaver, who I was expecting to be annoyed by, but miraculously, she's actually really funny. Like, I didn't expect that, but she's hilarious. Like, I really enjoyed her. And then we have Gary the Snake, played by one of my all-time favorite actors, Ke-Huy Quan. He did great. Gary the Snake is so adorable. His design is fantastic. It's probably my favorite character design Disney has done since the 2D era, honestly. Like, I don't know, I love how expressive it is. It's so cute. I love that it kind of looks like an old man. I love Gary. I love Gary DeSnake. He's adorable. He's not in the movie as much as I would have liked because he is, like, so endearing. But the plot revolves around him, so I guess it's fine. It's fine. So the new characters are great, the villains and good guys alike. What about our old characters? Nick and Judy get an arc that's pretty comparable to their arc in the first movie. It's not quite as good, maybe, but I do think the emotional climax they have is better. I love the scene where Nick just confesses all of his insecurities to her, and then she confesses her insecurities to him, and then they just continue. They just continue to do that back and forth. That scene was amazing. Genuinely. I got close to tearing up. Like, I don't know. I haven't felt that at a Disney movie in a long time, and it was very nice to see. Plus, the animation is just as strong, even on my, bad theater screen that I watched it on. It definitely looks at least on par with the first. There's a lot of really gorgeous scenes here. I was just remarkably impressed by Zootopia 2. I went in with very low expectations and came out extremely satisfied. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year. I don't think it's my favorite animated movie of the year. I probably still prefer The Day the Earth Blew Up a little bit, but second favorite for sure. A good time. I really enjoyed it. I forgot to record the score. It's like a 9 out of 10 probably. Like leaning closer to an 8 than a 10, but still a 9. So there you go. Also, before anyone comments it, I watched K-Pop Demon Hunters because everyone was saying it was really good. It's okay. It was all right. That's it. I'm not gonna say anything else about it. Because I don't want the animation community to be mad at me. It was okay. We're gonna move on now to number two. I watched Frankenstein because I heard it was good. And it was good. Like, really good. Like, kind of exceptionally good. I just want to start this off by saying, I love Oscar Isaac, but he's never once had a performance that blew me away until this. Oscar Isaac, sir, the actor I knew you were capable of being. He is phenomenal. He is giving it his all here. It's so good. He's really the heart of the movie. He's the main character, obviously. And he just, oh man, he's great. He carries this thing. But it's not like he's the only one killing it, because Jacob Elordi, he's playing the creature so beautifully in this. Like, the emotionality of his acting, which is fairly limited for a lot of it. He's so good. I love this movie's structure. I love how it chooses to tell the story. I was just blown away by it. I really loved Mia Goth's character in this, and I love that they didn't do a romance between her and the creature like I was really expecting them to, because the creature comes in near the end and is like, oh, I want a companion, and then Frankenstein says like, oh, you want to reproduce? But no, he didn't ask for a bride. He asked for a companion. He wants a friend. I don't know. It was a nice subversion of what you would expect. I'm glad there wasn't a romance in there. I didn't really need there to be. It's more of a mutual fascination between Mia Goth's character and the creature, and that was really appreciated. I like that a lot. Helps also that this is a beautifully shot movie. It is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Like, I saw someone like watching it in black and white, and that's cool. I'm sure it looks great. But like, the colors in this are, I don't know. It is a rich film. I saw one line in the climax being heavily criticized, and it's when Frankenstein's brother says, "Oh, he's not the monster, you are." And it's like, oh wow, bravo, removing all the subtlety. And that line in the context of the film works so well for me. Because I don't think this movie is trying to be subtle with the message. It's more of a character story, right? Like, the message is there. The theme, it's thematically rich still, but like, it is a character story. And in that moment, That is exactly what that character needed to say and what Frankenstein needed to hear. I truly loved it, a lot more than I thought I would. I don't have a ton to say about it, but that's mostly because I recommend you go check it out. Like, just go watch it. It's really good. I hate horror. You know, I have a very low gore tolerance. This film is about as much as I can take. But yeah, good stuff. Really good. Let's move on to number 1. If you know anything about me, which you don't, you are a viewer, you don't know me, you would know that Knives Out is my all-time favorite movie. I love everything about it. I want to do like a whole video on it at some point, honestly. I might do like a trilogy video now that this is out. Yeah, that'd be fun. You want to see me do a Knives Out trilogy video? That'd be really cool. I'd love to do that, actually. That might be my first project next year. Anyway, back on topic. Wake Up Dead Man. Wake Up Dead Man's out. I actually got to watch it early before it hit Netflix. I watched it in November. I watched it in theaters. And it was great. It was a phenomenal viewing experience. I'm so glad I got to see it in theaters on the screen it was meant to be seen on. Because it's beautiful. It is a magnificent looking movie. After thinking Glass Onion, which I love, by the way, I think Glass Onion's great. After thinking Glass Onion was a little bit of a directorial downgrade from the first, this one is definitely up to snuff. And while I do think the first is still my favorite of the 3, again, favorite movie of all time, I wasn't expecting this to top it, I do think, shockingly, it does top it in a couple key areas. The one thing I think was really lacking from Glass Onion that makes it my easy least favorite of the trilogy is that it didn't have as strong a heart as the first movie. It does have a heart, but it's not as big a focus as Marta and Harlan's relationship and how that affects her in the first movie. This one, though, really makes up for it. As a Christian who watches movies and also thinks a lot of Christian media really drops the ball and isn't as compelling as it should be, this was a refreshing film. Obviously, I'm not going to pretend it's the most, it's the most Christian movie ever made or whatever, but I do think it is good to show such a nuanced look at faith and have multiple characters of different perspectives that all respect each other. You have Josh O'Connor playing the main character, who is this devout priest, and he is fantastic. He might be my favorite character in all 3 movies. It's either him or Marta. I think it might be him, though. I don't know. I need to rewatch it when it hits Netflix. He goes on such a profoundly beautiful journey to me throughout this film. The performance from Josh O'Connor is amazing. I love this man. I think his relationship with Josh Brolin's character is really interesting and leads to some truly fascinating character moments later on. He is a great character. I think his internal conflict is great. Everything about him is good. He is a phenomenal character, and he is probably my favorite lead of all 3. Again, either him or Marta. I'm on the fence. But right now, recency bias, screw it. He's my favorite at this moment in time as I am recording this. It's so good. Then you have Blanc, who comes in a little later in this movie than usual. And his perspective on religion and faith and all that is really interesting because it completely adds up with this character. It allows him to contrast with Josh O'Connor's character and allow them to have some very interesting debates and conversations and opposing viewpoints that lead to good character conflict. This is the first movie to give Blanc an honest-to-goodness character arc. Like, Glass Onion gave him one, but it was pretty small, and a lot of it happened, like, off-screen early on, which works well for that movie. But here, he has significant growth that you can follow throughout the film, and I think that's cool. It might be the best movie in terms of Blanc's character, for sure. The ensemble here is maybe a little less utilized than the ones in Knives Out and Glass Onion, but they're all still great and have distinct personalities and a ton of fun moments. I will say, this easily has the best mystery of all 3 movies. I did call whodunit, but I had no idea how. There's a moment in this movie where there's a phone call that reveals a new piece of the information, and it was so baffling that I audibly said, "Oh, come on," because what do you mean? What are you talking about? I had no idea where it was going. And the ultimate reveal, as always, is extremely satisfying. It all comes together beautifully, and it made me cry which I think is the most important part. I was very misty-eyed walking out of that theater. Beautiful, wonderful film. Everyone needs to go watch these movies. They are so impeccably good. And now that this movie is out, and as good as it is, I can confidently say that the Benoit Blanc Mystery Trilogy is my favorite movie trilogy of all time. Well, thanks for sticking around, everybody. This was a interesting year, and a really good year for movies. Like, I don't know, this is pretty good. I mean, I hated Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and I hated Snow White, which I did watch, unfortunately. But everything else, yeah, I vibed. Good stuff all around. This is a good year. For me, too. This was a good year personally. I know I didn't upload as much to the channel as I maybe should have, and I do apologize for that. But yeah, I guess hopefully I get this out on Christmas, so you'll be seeing the Fiona and Cake finale reaction pretty soon, if you care about that. I don't know if anyone cares about those, honestly. They're more for me. I want to preserve my reaction to the season. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me. If you want to watch more videos of mine, I would highly recommend checking out the Cinemark ranking video. That's probably my best work. Also vote on the Bob's Burgers favorite character poll. Subscribe to my Patreon. I don't upload a ton on there, but I've uploaded things on there, and I do want to get more on there. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of content I want to put on there. I almost want to do like a podcast or something. That'd be kind of fun. Do like a Patreon exclusive podcast? Ooh, that's a good idea. Ooh. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thanks so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful new year. Bye-bye.